Hello YouTube, I'm Jack Clark, the YGO Musketeer, coming to you with another video. Hello, how are you? Now, of course, like I said in my last video, and if you're unaware, I am going to be doing Archetype reviews for all of the archetypes that will be debuting in the new set, Return of the Duelist, that is the set after Galactic Overlord. So I'm going to be going through all of the archetypes, and yes, I'm actually doing a video. 2 videos in a row, oh my god, he's somewhat consistent. But yes, I digress. The Madolche, of course, are an Earth attribute. Archetype of varying types, and the thing that they all share is all the monsters, when they are destroyed by an opponent's card, when they're destroyed by your opponent and sent to the graveyard, you shuffle them all into the deck. So they all share that effect, so I'm not going to say that effect when I go through them, just assume that they all have that effect, because they do. So, let's start off with Madolche Millefuile. I'm sorry if I pronounce any of the names wrong. I don't know if I don't know these languages. But yes, of course, in addition to the effect that they all share, when this card is normal summoned, you can special summon a Madolche from your hand. Okay, Millefuile, you're okay. 500 attack though is not very good at all, and of course makes you Veilabate like nobody's business. But assuming you actually get the effect through, it's level 3, which means of course you can summon another level 3, another Millefuile or another Madolche that's level 3 from your hand, and you can go for an instant rank 3, which is always a good rank, simply because we've got Leviathan, Levier, we got Zen Mains, and we've got the Symphony Djinns. So yeah, this is a good card. I mean, the only real ways I can fault it is the fact that it's really quite weak. So if you're not intending to Xyz with it immediately, which you should be, then it won't really make much impact on the game as such. And in addition to that, I guess the fact that it summons from the hand is kind of annoying, simply because it means that you have to use up hand advantage, so you may find yourself overextending to use this card to its best of its abilities. Am I the only one who thinks this is kind of like a pink cat version of the little grey mouse that used to appear in Tom and Jerry? He's kind of got the hat, and he's kind of, "Oh God, Monsieur Pussycat." I loved that show. Anyway. I digress, and let's go to the next card. Madolche Mupel. Mupel, oh my god, they're so kawaii desu, it's not even funny. But yes, this one is a level 3, 0 attack, 1800 defense points monster, and of course, in addition to sharing the effect that they all have, you can once per turn target a face-up attack position Madolche you control, and a face-up attack position monster your opponent controls. Then you can change both of those targets to face-up defense position, and those targets can't change their battle position until the end of your opponent's next turn. So yes, this is an interesting card. It's level 3, so of course you can use it with Millefuile, so you can go for a rank 3, like I've said. But I guess this is okay. I mean, I don't think the Madolches don't really have the attack points, the muscle behind them, to make use of your opponent's monsters going in defense mode too often. But, I mean, this stops your opponent from attacking, which is always good because they're so weak. So, it'll be interesting to see if this will actually see any use in Madolche decks. I mean, you can summon Millefuile, summon this, use its effect, make sure one of your opponent's monsters can't attack, then go for a rank 3. And, of course, your opponent's monster will be in defense mode, which is normally the worst of their modes because it's normally their weakest. So, no, that's alright. I quite like this card. I mean, it's still weak, but it's 1800 defense points, which means it's at least got a big ass to hide behind. So, let's go with the next card. Madolche Chevalier. I love the puns. This guy's awesome. Look, he's riding what looks like to be a My Little Pony copyright issue here. And look at him. He's wearing like a Napoleon gold and black trim, and he's got a freaking candy cane sword, and he's just looking at the camera saying, "What, bitch? I'm on a horse. Bitch, I'm on a freaking horse." Oh, I'm sorry. I do embarrass myself. But of course, he looks pretty cool. I mean, level 4 warrior as well. 1700 attack, which makes him one of the beefier, I use that term loosely. He's one of the more stronger Madolche monsters that you can summon. And of course, in addition to sharing the effect that they all have, your opponent can't target any other face-up Madolche monsters you control for attacks. So, can this lock? I guess you can get the Chevalier lock, just like a Sparta lock, I guess, just like from last video. But of course, just like the Heroic Challenger Spartas that I mentioned in my last video, this card will be susceptible to card effects being destroyed by those to make it so your opponent can attack the others. However, what I do like about this is, of course, the 1700 means it's actually got a respectable attack score, But of course, like all the other Madolches, they don't have a very good attack score, so of course this will protect the others. Which is not too bad. I mean, you summon this with Milifuile, and Milifuile will be protected from attacks, at least until they can destroy Chevalier, which is good, and I like this card. I mean, 1700 is okay, but still, this archetype is very lackluster as it stands. Next off, Madolche Majolin. Okay, we've got our own Lolita thing. I think Konami is purposely putting these cute little girly cards into the game. I mean, tour guide and tour bus and all that, and they're putting more of them into the game because they know that they got the the nerdy 40-year-olds that live in their basement with their mothers. They got, i.e., the lolicons will swarm all over these. But yeah, it's cute, but its effect, of course, like all of the others, shuffled back into the deck when it's destroyed. When it's into normal or flip summoned, you can add a Madolche from your deck to your hand. Okay! They've got their own Stratos. Stratos with 1400 attack points, but still, they've got their own Stratos, which is okay. Of course, this will add consistency to the Madolche deck, and I like this card. It's actually got some... It's actually okay. Of course, when it's destroyed, it goes back to the deck. So, in addition, you can search for ones that have already been destroyed, and it can reuse its effect over and over again, which is lovely. Of course, they're still so weak. They don't have any muscle behind them. So, it'll be interesting to see how the Madolches do at all, to be fair. But, of course, they've got their own Stratos, which is always good. They've got their own Stratos and their own Marauding Captain, which is actually... A lot of archetypes would kill for that kind of support. So, it's interesting to see what else they have to make use of it. So, Madolche Butlerusk. Oh, the puns. Look at him, he's so smug, pouring TU with his floating pretzel and chocolate eclair. Bitch, please. Ah. But yes, of course, in addition to having the effect that all the others have as well, when this card is normal summoned, if you control another Madolche, you can add a field spell from your deck to your hand. Oh, come on, when it's normal summoned, if you add it to anything, then you could have used it with Milifuile at least. Okay, well, you can search for any field spell, so not just their own field spell, which they do have. So I guess this would open up the doors for any kind of Madolche a Madolche engine, maybe, where you can, just use Majolin and Butlerusk and search for field spells in your deck. So I guess the only field spell that I can think of really at the top of my head that could make use of a Madolche engine, I guess, so to speak, would maybe be Black Garden. I mean, they're ridiculously weak as it stands. I guess they wouldn't mind if their attack points were halved. And yeah, I like it. Butlerusk is groovy with his floating pretzel and his molecule. But yeah, let's go to the next card. He's okay, but of course it's kind of slow to get his effect off. Next card, Madolche Pudding Cess. Okay, level 5, we're ranking it up a bit with 1000 attack and defense. What the fudge is this? Okay, so of course, when it's destroyed, return to the deck. Now, if there are no monsters in your graveyard, it gains 800 attack and defense, so it becomes 1800. Okay, 1800. That's still weak for level 5. It's too weak for level 5, and I thought freaking Batteryman Charger was weak for level 5, but still, this is even worse. So, its last effect: when this card battles an opponent's monster, you can target a card your opponent controls and destroy it. Okay. That's okay. I mean, of course, why would you be battling with this card in the first place? So unless you have any other kind of attack modifying cards, then yeah, sure. Then yeah, go for it. But yeah, destroy your opponent's cards very easily. So your opponent wants to attack it, boom, one of their cards gone. So it's got kind of a pseudo Zen mains thing. If you want to destroy this by battle, you're gonna have to lose a card. Which is okay. I mean, you can actually amass some advantage from this card and destroy your opponent's cards, which is nice, but of course, being level 5 cripples it. I guess you can search for it with Sangan, summon it via a Giant Rat, which is always good. But of course, if you do it via Giant Rat, of course, you'll have a monster in your graveyard, so you won't get the attack boost. But it's nice. Dead card in the hand, I can imagine. But you can summon it with Milifuile, and you can search it with their Stratos, and so that's always good. Okay, let's go to the spell cards now. So we've got Madolche Chateau. So, when you activate this card, shuffle all Madolches in your graveyard into your deck. If only it was all monsters. Well, this card is face up on the field. All Madolches on the field gain 500 attack and defense. Okay, an attack boost, that's good. I mean, well, the Chevalier becomes 2100, which is nice. Okay, and if a monster in your graveyard would be shuffled into the deck by the effect of a Madolche, you can add it to your hand instead. Oh my, okay. that means advantage all the way. You destroy one of my cards, I get it back to my hand, which is very nice. Although, of course, due to the wording, well, at least the wording on the Wikia, no less, that I'm reading from, if a monster in your graveyard would be shuffled into the deck by the effect of a Madolche. So, if they do introduce some more Madolches in future sets, which I can only assume they will, then if they do a Madolche monster which is like a Pot of Avarice with a body, then, oh my god, that could actually be broken. Nice! Let's hope this card can only get better, so let's see what other support the Madolches get in the future, and with all the other cards that I have to talk about. But yeah, this is a good card. This actually makes them somewhat playable. I'm not sure if they're any good though, but the Madolche monsters themselves are so lackluster in attack strength that I'm not sure if that can save them. But yeah, let's go to the traps now, and they've got 3 traps, which is quite a few actually. So first off, Madolche Mana. A normal trap card, mind you. Shuffle one Madolche monster in your graveyard into your deck. All face-up Madolche monsters you on the field gain 800 attack and defense. Then you can shuffle one monster from your graveyard into the deck. Okay, yeah, okay. So you shuffle a Madolche monster, so if you've discarded it, I guess, or whatever, however you've gotten rid of it from your hand, since they all go to the graveyard, since they all get returned to the deck once they are destroyed. Then they all gain 800 attack defense. I guess that works well with Pudding Cess. I mean, 1800, then it'll get some more attack points. It will clear your graveyard and give your Pudding Cess more attack points. And of course, you can shuffle any monster from your graveyard into your deck. So I guess if you do decide to use Giant Rats, which I can only assume you may want to, then of course I can be shuffled back into your deck. So it's not just Madolche monsters that can go back to the deck, which is okay. I mean, this gives the Madolches a bit more attack points, and it will allow you to reuse cards in your graveyard. However, if you can implement it well enough, I guess that will be the only problem with it. So, let's go with the next one, Madolche Waltz. Oh, the picture, Chevalier, and just, bitch, please, I don't want to dance. Oh, Pudding Cess, you do look like your hair's made out of custard. But yes, a continuous trap card. After damage calculation, if a Madolche monster you control battled an opponent's monster, inflict 300 damage to your opponent. Okay, I guess this kind of makes use for the fact that they're so freaking weak and your opponent will be very easily able to destroy them. So yes, I guess that works with Pudding Cess with its effect to destroy. Doing 300 damage is quite low. I mean, they don't particularly have swarming capabilities. I mean, they do have melee for Willy. So, okay, this is just lackluster. Just doing burn damage, it's nothing really much. I wish it had like, drawn a card or something when they battle or something. But that would be ridiculous. So, let's go with the last one. Madolche T-Breaker, Counter Trap. Oh my god, do they get their own Infinity Barrier? Okay, let's have a look. If you have no monsters in your graveyard, when your opponent activates a spell or trap, negate the activation of that card and return it to the hand. Then if you control Madolche Pudding Cess, you can destroy a card on the field. Are you kidding me? You turn it to the hand? Oh, come on, that is just... that's crippling. Oh, dear. Okay, so you have to have no monsters in your graveyard, which can be accomplished with this kind of deck. But if they activate a spell card, yeah, sure, return it to the hand. Unless it had a cost, then they can reactivate it immediately. And even then, if it had a cost, they can still activate it immediately. I guess this will only be good if they're going up against trap cards, which is okay, I guess. I mean, the meta is now being kind of flooded with more people using trap cards. But returning to the hand, god. I guess the last effect that when you control Pudding Cess, you can destroy another card on the field, which is nice. I mean, I think if a Madolche deck exists, then it will focus on just getting rid of your opponent's cards by the effects, which is nice. I mean, it can be crippled by stuff like Skill Drain and freaking Effect Failure, like no one's business. But I guess it's okay. There's nothing too much to say about this archetype. I don't think it's going to make any kind of impact. I think it's going to make less of an impact than freaking Heroic Challenges. Although, like I said, with some of the other cards that I mentioned, they have potential. They've got their own Stratos. They've got their own Marauding Captain. They've got their own Chateau, which allows them to add them back to their hand when they're destroyed, which means you won't lose advantage once they're destroyed. So yeah, this is an interesting archetype. It's not going to do anything immediately. I mean, competitively. Casually, yeah, you're going to see a lot more lolicons actually crawl out of their basement. But yeah, I mean, more support in this deck could actually be worth something. I mean, Madolche Pudding Cess, maybe we'll see a Queen. Okay, so yeah, Madolche Queen in future, maybe. But yeah, until then, though, this deck's kind of lackluster. But then again, isn't everything. But yes, that's pretty much it. I'm Jack Clark, the YGO Musketeer. Of course, I will be doing all of the archetypes, like I said, that are released in The Return of the Duelist, so Gia, Giano, Upart, and the magical archetypes are next. If you want to choose which archetype I do next, please say in the comments down below. If you have any thoughts or ideas about the Madolche archetype, then please put those into the comments or as a video response down below as well. Really would be interested to hear your thoughts and your own combos that you can think of and anything that I may have missed. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm Jack Clark, the YGO Musketeer. Goodbye.